Good morning.
When I was a boy each week,
I want to welcome you guys again, and I want to ask if there are folks here today that were not here yesterday, would you please stand so that we can welcome you? Terrific. And even tomorrow, bring your neighbors and a friend. Okay, number 2. We are thrilled to have you guys all here. To be able to see Ed today, make sure that you turn your chairs around now. You don't want your back to him. There's a lot to be said for his facial expressions, and you will enjoy that. If you have not already made a name tag, please do. And those sheets of paper on your table are meant for you to color in. I can't believe we have to tell you guys this, but that's what they're there for. And also, if you took home a pamphlet, I hope that you brought it back, because we did not have enough to go around anyway, and we're hoping that you guys would be like Vacation Bible School people and share. The bathrooms are out this door behind the snack table. You can also go down this hallway all the way to the end, and there's bathrooms on the left. I beg your pardon? I got that. I really do. We are recycling everything next to the garbage cans. You've got places that you can put your cups, your tops, and your holders there so that we are good stewards. Please empty the coffee out before you put them in anything. Please make sure you go out and empty them. You have until noon today. I'd say there'll be a little grace period. But if you would like to come tomorrow night to the Wednesday night program, Ed will be here tomorrow again from 9:30 until noon. But if you would like to come to Wednesday night and hear his program then, you need to make a reservation today by noon. And again, Crystal and the 224-1502 is what you call. I want to say a big thank you. There's been a couple of young adult classes who wanted to be in partner with this, and they have made a lot of the homemade goodies out there, and I want to thank them. I think that's 11. I've already said that. And now I'd like to ask John Rowe to come up.
Ed, I'm going to adjust your mic just a bit. I'll put it right back. I know how musicians are. Ed, one thing I wanted to share, could you guys show your appreciation for Ed and Kathleen this morning? Ed, I meant to share this with you earlier. Ed did the benediction in here for our contemporary service this past Sunday. And in the late service, we've got a whole host of middle school kids that sit right here. And one of those is my son, who's a freshman at DB. And when Ed kicked up his storytelling and music, it takes a lot to impress a high schooler. And he turned and looked at me and goes, wow. And at the end, he caught me and was like, Dad, that Ed guy's pretty cool. So to have the ability and the talent to communicate, not just to the younger generation, but to every single aspect of where we are in our life stage is an incredible gift that we are so thankful to be sharing with Ed this week. So as we enter into a time of hearing stories and music that helps us to understand the gospel a little bit better today, let us go to our God in prayer. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for community. for a group that you have called together to hear your story one more time. God, we ask that you use this time, that you use Ed's voice, that you use Kathleen's grace and love to communicate more and more to us who you are and your great love for us. God, use this time to help us to be more and more like your son. And it's in your son's name we pray. Amen. And here's Ed.
Thank you, John. Thank you. You remember? Remember is one of those words, you know? Remember. The higher you climb, the more that you see, more that you see, the less that you know, the less that you know, more that you learn, more that you learn, more that you learn. Higher you climb, and the farther you reach, the more that you touch, the more that you touch, the more that you touch. Here it comes. The older you feel, but here's the good news. The older you the less that you need, the less that you need, and the higher you climb. It bears repeating. The older you feel, the less that you need, the less that you need. The less that you need, the higher you climb. Deep sigh. You don't have to follow this in the book, but I'm going to read the gospel story that we're going to do now. It's on page 3, I do believe. 10th chapter of John. Once again, Jesus is trying to give his friends some perspective, some context. Basically saying, this is how this is going to work. So it's in the 10th chapter of John that the author records, I am the good shepherd. Jesus saying, the good shepherd puts the sheep before himself, sacrifices himself if necessary. But a hired man is not a real shepherd. The sheep mean nothing to him. He sees a wolf come and he runs for it, leaving the sheep to be ravaged and scattered. He's only in it for the money. The sheep don't matter. But Jesus says, I am a good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me. In the same way God knows me, and I know God. I put the sheep before myself, sacrificing myself if necessary. Now, I don't know everything, but here's what I think I know about this little piece Jesus is doing. I think he did all this to say this next line. So listen carefully. You need to know that I have other sheep in addition to those in this pen. It's not all about you. And I need to gather them in. They will recognize my voice. Then it will be one flock, one shepherd, one church. This is why God loves me. I give my life for my sheep. You need to know, he said, that I have other sheep. This is the word of God for the people of God, and we say, thanks be to God. For much of my career, Kathleen and I lived down in the Carolinas, just south of Charlotte, a little town just in the north section of South Carolina, Rock Hill. Was a little town anyway when I moved there 40 years ago. Now it's a suburb of Charlotte, and that happens, you know. It's a good place to be if your work is in the South, and mine was. The interstates cross there, you know. 77 going north to south, 85 east to west. In just a few hours you can be in Raleigh, and in another few hours you can be in Atlanta. You can go south, you come up here. It's just a good traveling home base, a good safe harbor. But from time to time I would get invitations that were almost off the map. The old, what we call, if you're a Rand McNally fan, the old blue highways, you know. The roads before the interstates. In fact, sometimes, and I'm sure you're asked, what are you going to do when you get older and you have a chance to retire? What would you like to do? And most everybody says, oh, I want to travel. Well, I'm telling you what, that's the last thing that Kathleen and I want to do. I've put perhaps a couple of million miles on cars and various means of transportation, and I've been around, and I've done that, and have loved the road. I really literally like the driving and the pageantry that goes by as you see the world change through the front window and the rear view. But if I were to travel and to go back to some of the places, I would like to go back and make journeys using only the old blue roads. 441, 27. Some of those old highways that before the interstates, which are kind of boring. They're all pretty much, once you're on an interstate, you can be any place and look out. It's pretty much one exit after another. But the little towns and nooks and crannies, the blue highway. What was the highway that came through here before you had the big 4-lane that cut up through the mountains? What? So from time to time, I'd get invitations going out of Rock Hill to come to western South Carolina. Now, you don't need to know about western South Carolina, but take my word for it. There isn't anything in western South Carolina. But little little towns and burgs. Lawrence, which is Lawrence on the map, but you have to learn how to pronounce it. Or Clinton, we had a president, didn't we? But if you're in South Carolina, it's Clinton. Get an invitation to come out to Western South Carolina, and I enjoyed that trip because you got to travel one of the old blue roads of the Carolina, Highway 49. Now it is an old highway, but it happens to be the main street of Charlotte, North Carolina, running right through the middle of Charlotte. Goes east. I don't know if it makes it to the coast. And it comes down through Charlotte, comes past Rock Hill, and then it goes out into western South Carolina. And I've traveled that road time and time again. Come out of Rock Hill, you go through a little Sharon, and then you go through Lockhart. Lockhart is an old mill town. The big smokestack from the old mill is still there, and the foundation and a few windows of the old mill that used to be there, but that's all long gone. There's some mill houses. People still live in Lockhart, but it's pretty much a one flashing yellow light stop on 49 as it continues west into South Carolina's wilderness. In the very early days, probably the first time I made the trip west, after you get through Lockhart, a few miles out of Lockhart, there's a place in the road where there's a road that goes off up into the trees that doesn't have a mailbox by it. So it's probably not somebody's home. And I'm a road less traveled kind of person. I see that kind of road and I wonder. And so I turned off up a little gravel road up through tall pines and came out onto a paved area, a big kind of a parking lot where fishermen would leave their trailers after they had put their boats in a little lake. The pines were tall, and so the place was shaded and cool. And as I traveled, I always looked for places like that. You need that kind of thing, particularly down through the years. You got to take your naps. And so I would kind of make a mental note on my map that there's this little road, it goes up in there, and there's this place, and you can park in the shade of the trees. And so over the years, I had visited many times. And then over the years, it started to change a little bit. They started to work on it a little bit. They paved the road up into the trees. And I continued to visit. But in later years, the reason I visited was not to take a nap. It was to read the story. Because in the later years, up in those trees, there were two large gravestones. And they were not there to mark a grave. They were there because etched on those stones, it took two of them to tell the story. The story of a woman named Susan Smith. Now, some of you will remember, and if you're not from those parts, maybe it's just way back in there, but it's been many years. But some of you will remember Susan Smith was the woman who locked her children in the car and rolled them down a ramp to drown in a lake. This was the place. And they marked that event with these stones and with the story. And I never passed by without stopping to once again read. Some of the stories that I tell are so heavy, almost too heavy to carry. I imagined that night. I tried to picture. I'd read all the stories, I'd read the news accounts, and I know what happened. The story of Susan Smith. If you get back on 49 and continue west, you'll come toward a town. Come toward a town. Remind me the town, Kathleen. Union, South Carolina. That's it. That's it. And back in the day, when you came into a little town, the Methodist church is going to have a blue sign out there on a telephone pole. Now, there is a bend in the road coming into Union, and they placed the mark for the Methodist church right there. It's one of the things you see as you come in. It says, what's the name of the church? Buffalo United Methodist Church. Thank you. It's my Google back there. Buffalo United Methodist Church. And I remembered that church. Because in the very early days of my career, when all I did was youth group programs and stuff, some of you remember back when we used to have gatherings called sub-district rallies. And they'd have a special program, and all the little churches, little youth groups would get to feel big one night because you'd gather and they'd have a speaker or a program. And that's where I got my start, doing these little churches around doing youth groups, sub-district. And I had been at that church, Buffalo United Methodist Church. Later, I learned that Susan Smith grew up in that church. Her family still attends. And I did the math. She could have been there. She could have been there. So every time I sit up here and look out there, I wonder. Because every one of us is a story. And they are all sacred. She could have been there. Some of these stories are just too heavy to carry. Kathleen and I have raised 3 daughters. They've gone on to marry and each of them have 2 children, so we have 6 grandchildren. Many of you, most of you, have probably raised a child or 2, and you know that they go through what we call phases. There are eras. It is not for the timid as you raise your children, and our children, I think, were pretty typical. Early on, 3 daughters, one of the first phases they went through, they decided they want to do ballet. I don't think they really wanted to dance. They wanted to wear the little thing, and I think when they found out how serious ballet was, that pretty well put an end to that phase. Short-lived. Then a couple of them wanted to learn to play the violin. Violin, one of the most beautiful instruments to listen to, but not in the early stages. Cruel and unusual punishment. So we were thankful that that phase passed quickly, and the little violins were put up on the top shelf in the closet. Then it was gymnastics. I think it was probably the Olympics or something. Whatever it did to that generation, it was a monkey see, monkey wanted to do. And they were bouncing around the house and so wanted to go off and do the classes and things like that. So off we went. Now, I've been describing my work and all the traveling, and you'd think that most of the time I would have been away from my children a lot, but it's not that way at all. I was with them a lot, because when I wasn't traveling, I was just there. I was there to take them to their dentist appointments and to back and forth to school. I was there much of the time during the week. I got to spend, I think, more time than most people do with their children. So I got to take them to gymnastics, pick them up at school, and we go to this little metal building there in the suburbs of Rock Hill. And I'd park and sit there while they went in and took their class. The gymnastics building was an interesting design. It had a long line of windows across the front, but they were not down where you could see the people inside. They were up a little higher. So all you would see every once in a while was a little head would come up and look like a Ham's beer sign. You know, it's just boom, boom. Every once in a while, oh, there she is. No, there she is. So I'd watch this little puppet show. But then over the months that I was sitting in the parking lot, on occasion I'd get up and I'd go look in. I wanted to see, I wanted to watch. And I got fascinated with the instructor. The man who was teaching the class was incredible. One of the most beautiful men I have ever seen. The part of me that's gay. Calm down. As a man can appreciate a beautiful man, this guy was perfect. And so full of grace, and so attentive and gifted with the kids. And sometimes I'd stand over at the side, and when he had some time, he'd come over and talk. And so over a period of time, we became friends. And then my children outgrew gymnastics. And we never went back. Years later, the hospice chaplain in town said, Ed, there's a man here in town who is dying, who says that he knows you. He said he used to teach your children gymnastics. He has AIDS, and his parents have taken him in. And she told me the story. The story of kneeling beside an old clawfoot bathtub between his parents. The three of them kneeling and holding in their arms this sheet-shrouded figure that years before had perhaps weighed 180 beautiful pounds. She said he couldn't have weighed 100. But they lowered him into the water because she was asked to baptize him in the name of God and the Son and the Spirit. Some of my stories are so heavy. too heavy to carry. I knew a man, he died of AIDS. Good man and a friend. His pastors and his parents' arms round him at the end. His pastor, she was crying. She heard him pray this prayer. God who made us men, who love each other, do you care? Do you care when we are beaten? Do you care when we are torn? Flowers in this garden here, discarded in the thorns. My friend cried out to Jesus. His soul began to rise. With his arms wide open, he reached out for the sky. You may have heard of Susan Smith, of her dirty deed, of the guilty verdict and her very crazy plea. I dreamed that she was drowning off some far and distant shore. Cold dark water filled her lungs. She sank to rise no more. People turned and walked away. She vanished from their view. The crowd along the shoreline dwindled down to two. Too small to understand her, too weak to set her free. But I dreamed I saw her children pull her gently from the sea. There's a place they call the kingdom where people live by grace. Their leaders are their servants, and the last ones win the race. Those who love are wealthy, and those who hate are poor. Honor's won by making peace, not by making war. And everyone's invited when the kingdom feast is spread. They remember how they got there in the breaking of the bread. They pass a cup around the room to every tear-stained face and drink a toast to Jesus and sing Amazing Grace. Pass the cup around the room to every tear-stained face as we drink a cup of Jesus and sing. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. You need to know, he said. You need to know that I have other sheep. I mentioned yesterday that there are churches that have an awkward moment. I don't know who came up with the idea of setting little children loose for a children's moment. And because I come as a guest and have worked with young people and stuff, they say, would you, while you're here on Sunday morning, could you do the children's moment? And that's when I realized why there's that verse in Matthew where it said, Jesus said, little children make me suffer. Or something like that. I mean, really, it's in there, something about children and suffering. Anyway, I may haven't read it right. So they come and they sit and I try to amuse them. And so just for a moment here, I want you to go back to when you were little and you're gathered around me here, and I'm going to do a little children's time for you. I ask them, I say, what's the first thing you do when you come into this room? I say, you know what you should do? You should look up and say, wow. Because this is a wow place. Churches, big room, tall ceilings. Wow. Look up. I say, you know why they make this one? Every church has what they call sanctuary. They have this big room. You know why they make that room so big? It's so that when someone speaks in here, they sound like God. I made a mistake one time. I was in a church, and this is true of many churches, that they have wood planks and boards up there, and I was looking up and I saw all those knot holes up there. There was in this particular one, and I made a mistake I thought it would be a good idea to say, you see the knot holes up there? You know what those are? Those are people looking down at you. Pastor got a call in the afternoon. My children don't want to come back to church. This is a wow space, I said. It is. So when you come to church next Sunday, you look up and go, wow. Shh. That's the next thing you learn about church. When you're little, in fact, when I was little, the first thing that I ever remember about church was shh. A voice. It came from up there. Shh. This is church. You hush, or we're taking you outside. So I think the first thing I learned about church was before you came in there, you were supposed to leave part of yourself outside. The noisy part, which when you're little is pretty much your main part. But I liked coming to church. Even when I didn't understand, when I was little, the thing that I remember was music, surrounded by a choir. And back in the day when people sang more fervently, we had hymnals. Remember hymnals? They had a book, not a screen. They had a book. It had all the words, and it had the notes. And it wasn't just one note, the melody. They had the alto, the soprano. It was heavenly. And so when I'm little, I hear harmony. I loved coming to church. Then I got a little older. I was in about junior high, and they wanted me to leave more of myself outside before I came in there. Some of my jokes. Actually, most of my jokes. And then when I was in high school, they wanted me to leave out some of my music before I came in there. Actually, it was most of my music. But I kept coming to church. And I have continued down through the years, although I'm going to say that sometimes I sit in church now and look out and remember. And sometimes I think about it. I think, over the years, less and less of me has been coming in here. Some of the really important stuff has been left out. Haven't you ever been sitting in church? Looked at the people sitting around you and you're thinking to yourself, some of these people are not all here. You may be thinking that this morning. Because some of the really important stuff has been left out. So I think one of the things that's kind of my mission in life has been to try to bring some of that stuff back here. So that when I come to church, I bring some of the jokes. I bring the music. And I bring all of who I am to this wow space. Shh. Not just in church. You grew up hearing that. A number of places, school, teachers were always after me. Made the mistake of sitting next to friends. I'd sit next to my best friend, so we'd always want to be talked. Teachers say, you too, shh, hush. So one time, my best friend's name was Glenn. He comes one day and he says, Ed, I got this book that can teach us how we can talk without making any noise. How do you suppose you can talk without making noise? Thank you. Sign language. We were going to learn sign language. And we worked at it. I'll admit I didn't ever really get proficient, but sign language is a beautiful language. I love it, even though I don't understand it. And many of you do, and you've seen people, you just can't take your eyes off of them. It's a dance, it's a flow. And sometimes when I'm serving and I'm in worship or in concert, they'll put somebody right down here interpreting what I'm doing and singing into that language for the people sitting in front of them. a short story within a story. Kathleen and I attended the Deaf United Methodist Church just outside of Baltimore, Maryland, some years ago, pastored by a friend. All kinds of people came to that church, Muslim, Jewish, homeless. It was such a mix of people, but the only thing that was required, and the only thing they all had in common was none of them could hear. They had a choir called the Yellow Pages. Let your fingers do the walking. And the pastor, she was up front. I was sitting with her husband. Her husband nudged me. He said, you see the interpreters down on the front row? I looked down there, and there were 5 young people sitting right up next to the altar rail, sitting with 5 people facing them right across from them. And he said, those 5 people, we pick them up every Sunday and we bring them. They are deaf. They are dying of AIDS. And they are also blind. So what is happening down there is that those young people were holding their hands and making the sign language in their hands so they could see the story. Every time I see sign language, I remember that Sunday. And it's up there in Baltimore. Find the Deaf Methodist Church, and you can go and see what I'm talking about. But when I'm up here and there's somebody interpreting my work in sign language, I can't concentrate because I'm just watching them. Guys, I want to see, hey, what does this song look like? So I was singing a song that looked like this. If you know sign language, you know I was singing a song that said, from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same, the name of the Lord shall be praised. And you're looking at me like, we could learn that. You can. Get your arms up. We're going to learn some sign language. Here's how you say sunrise in sign language. You take a sun and you bring it up. Okay? Now, what do you think sundown's going to look like? Of course. So, from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same, the name, the sign for name is 2 fingers, tap them together. Name of the Lord. Make an L with your finger. Take it over to your opposite shoulder. No, over here. This means something else. You bring it down across your chest like a sash, okay? So, name of the Lord. Shall be praised. Open hand, closed fist. Ready? You hit it, go boom. Hit it again because it's fun. Boom. And I learned something recently from a person that knows more about sign language than me. She says, you know that? She says, what it is, when you hit your hand, your fingers, you spread your fingers and go across. Those are the 5 primary colors of a rainbow. So the sign means glory, praise, boom, rainbow. There's a little bridge in the song, a bridge that goes, praise ye the Lord. Okay, well, we already know the boom word, praise, praise. Ye, That's the word they used in the Bible when they meant y'all, okay? They weren't from around here, so, they don't know. Praise, you just pointed everybody, ye the Lord. You all did so well that maybe you could even help me with the song. So I'll teach it to you, one line at a time. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. Sing that. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. Now listen. The name of the Lord shall be praised. Sing it. The name of the Lord. Let's do that again. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. The name of the Lord shall be praised. Here's that little bridge. Praise, ready? Praise ye the Lord. That was close. Let's try it again. Praise. Praise ye the Lord. From the rising. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. The name of the Lord shall be praised. Now, do the sign language, but don't sing the song. God, who in the quiet of this morning speaks the language of our hearts, who with the rising and the setting sun walks with us through each of our days. We give you praise and thanks for this time and for this place, for each other, for you, and for all who will come our way in the days to come. This we say, this we pray. In your name. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Kathleen. We're going to take that little break I mentioned in just a moment, and then we will come back for the close of this second day of Vacation Bible School. I mentioned that the table back there, and my daughters came to me a couple of years back and wanted me to do an album, a specific album of music where they got to pick the songs. They wanted to pick the songs that they remembered me singing as they grew up. And they wanted me to record this album for their children, our grandchildren. So when I wiped away the tears, I spent some time in the studio and collected some songs from those days to pass on down the road. And we did that album. It came out called Lullaby. It's not an album of lullabies. We just thought that would be a good title for an album for children. But Lullaby is one of those collected back there on the table, either in flash drive or on CD, and I did for my grandchildren, but I did it for your grandchildren too, or your nieces, nephews, any young people. If you want to pass on the songs of our generation, say way back in the day, 70s, 80s, 90s. Pass on that. That might be when you go back, if you go back by the table today or tomorrow might be one you keep in mind. And Kathleen mentioned she gets a lot of requests from people that say, that would be just perfect for a baby shower or something like that, looking for a gift. So I just remind you that might be a way to pass on the music. There are a number of other albums. There's a children's album called Daddy's Home that I did with my children. We recorded it together when they were 7, and two of them, they were 7 and 9 years old, and they're featured on that album. They're in their 40s now. Daddy's Home. Someone once suggested that now that I work with senior adults, I might do a sequel to that album. Daddy's in a Home. But I don't think so. Clever. So the best ofs back there, Daddy's Home, the Grateful Dead, all you can stop by. There's an order sheet, a sheet that lists all of the albums, and you can go back and kind of check over the things that you've been hearing, and maybe there's a tune or two, and you can find it, and she can help you with that. So that's going to be back there. So we're good? We're good. Okay. Like I say, we're going to take this short break, but you will be right back after these messages. Thank you. Couple of what? I've got to work here in between. I've got some preparation to do. Okay, can you do that? Okay, sheep. It's time to start regathering. If you will find the lost sheep out there by the snacks and the restrooms, and let people know that in just a couple of minutes we're going to get back at it here. Just keep moving and come on and regather. Come on, come on. Keep coming. Okay. We need to talk. We need to talk. We have an unhappy camper here, so we need to talk. Debbie Johnson celebrated her 73rd birthday on the 9th of this month and did not feel like she got enough attention at the time. So she came up to me before the program this morning. She said, "Do you think you might do something special just for me?" Kind of let people know, kind of raise a little consciousness. She did mention she had a gift registry over at the Walmart. That it wouldn't be too late to give her a little attention. And I said, Debbie, we all have birthdays. Everybody's special. If I do something for you, what about everybody else? But then she got a little tear drip from her eye. So I said, okay. Debbie, you may not know this, but I'm a member of a folk singing terrorist group. A movement started by a friend up over in Charlottesville, Virginia. His name is John McCutcheon. Many years ago, John decided he would start a movement to overthrow the sacred practice of singing the old happy birthday And he would write a new birthday song, the New Birthday Song Movement. And I thought maybe this morning you all might be ready, and maybe in honor of Debbie's 73rd. Did I mention about the gift registry? That was important. Okay, she wanted me to be sure. Yeah, to get you to join the movement. I'm looking out at, you grew up when I did. You were 60s people. Remember back when you had movements? I mean, when we demonstrated in the streets. So back in the day, there we were, and then we started voting Republican. That's a joke, too. You can laugh. So I don't think it's too late to just invite you to lean back to the left just a little bit, not enough to throw your back out. And invite you to join the new, whoa. Join the new birthday song movement. The same way we've done just about everything, one line at a time. I think you've done pretty good. If I confuse you, just be patient here. Makes me think of the good old days. Happy birthday to you. Try that. It makes me think of the good old days. Happy birthday to you. Listen up. You sure grew out of your baby ways. Happy birthday to you. You sure grew out of your baby ways. Happy birthday to you. It's your 73rd birthday. We wish you many more. It's your 73rd birthday. We wish you many more. Health and wealth and friends by the score. Health and wealth and friends by the score. Good. Cut the cake and let's eat some more. Happy birthday to you. Cut the cake. Cut the cake and let's eat some more. Happy birthday to you. Oh, that's good. Well, they're gonna let the second grade out early today, which made a little Debbie kind of blue, 'cause she just turned 7 years old that day. She thought she'd get a party at her school, so she's walking back home, taking off her guard. Chairs and tables all over her yard, and her friends are all there. They holler real loud, happy birthday to you. Her friends are all there, and they holler real loud, happy birthday. Now sing the song. It makes me think of the good old days. Happy birthday. You sure grew out now. You sure grew out of your baby weight. Happy birthday. It's your 7th birthday. It's your 7th birthday. We wish you many more. Health and wealth. Health and wealth and friends. Cut the cake and let's eat some more. Happy birthday to you. Well, now Debbie's 22. She's working for her pop, and her head is full of business through and through. They're putting in a whole new system at the shop. She forgot she had a birthday due. She's going back, driving back home, taking off her guard. Chairs and tables all over the yard, and her friends are all there. They holler real loud, happy birthday. Sing it out now. It makes me think of the good old days. Happy birthday. You sure grew out. You sure grew out of your baby weight. Happy birthday. It's your 22nd now. It's your 22nd birthday. We wish you many. Try that again. It's your 22nd birthday. We wish you many more. Health and wealth and friends. Cut the cake and let's eat some more. Happy birthday to you. Now I can see Debbie in a rocking chair, admiring the view. She still got all her teeth, she still got her hair, but today she's 92. Ooh, well, she's turning in a chair, taking off her garb, chairs and tables all over her yard. Her friends are all there, and they holler real loud, happy birthday. Come on, sing it out. It makes me think of the good old days. Happy birthday, you sure grew out. You sure grew out of your baby weight. Happy birthday, it's your 92nd. It's your 92nd birthday. Wish you many more. Health and wealth and friends, smiles. Cut the cake and let's eat some more. Happy birthday to you. Now you're going to be sitting around a birthday party somewhere next few weeks. You're going to be sitting there going, how did that song go? There was something about a cake. I remember something about a cake. So that maybe you will remember, we're going to do it one more time. Only this time I'm going to play and you're going to sing. And remember, 73rd birthday. Oh, also, gift registry down over at the Thornburg. Are you ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It makes cut the cake, let's eat some. Happy birthday to you. Debbie, stand up. Happy birthday to you. Now, I'm not going to say this out loud, but I think she might be 74. I think she might be 74. I think she might be 74.
And how old are you?
Tomorrow, I will be 81 years old. Oh, Thursday. Thursday, I think that is. Anyway, don't want to rush that. Okay, so. I did mention about Walmart. Yeah, okay. That seemed to be important to her. Okay, we've got to do some adjusting here. Y'all like money? I love money. I collect money. Whoa. There you go. In fact, I've collected enough to share. Would y'all like some money? Let's see if we can do this. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we could do this. There's enough for everyone out here. Somebody come and help me do this? Here. Everybody gets $1. How about that? Let's start with the front row. People that sit in front should be rewarded. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. It's not just Methodists or Baptists that sit at the back. I've been in synagogues. I've been in cathedrals. People come and they sit way in the back. Is that what you go? You go up to Ticketmaster and say, "I want seats on the back row." No. So thank you. This is how I get people to sit down front. I hand out money. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Okay, here's what I want to do. I want everybody to have, I've got enough to share, I think. Even second row, do you feel worthy? Okay, we'll include here. Somebody that can go out and just start handing out some money. Till everybody gets one. We need to just keep handing it around until everybody take one. And when you get the dollar, just hold that dollar in your hand, very steady it. Just hand it around until everybody has some. And if there's enough for this table, move it to the other tables. We'll figure it out. Come on. Everybody take one. Just take one and hold it in your hand. Take one and hold it in your hand. There you go. And if you have too much, there you go. I'm just throwing money out like crazy. Whoa. Here you go. Yeah. That's great. This is your stimulus. The current administration is very generous. They give out a lot of money to people. Not to you and me, but to certain kinds of people, I guess. Here you go. Keep going. Have you run out of money? Everybody got one yet? Everybody got one? Raise your hand if you don't have $1 yet. Anybody have any extra? I thought I had enough. Raise your hand if you don't have $1. There's still a few people back there. Here you go. Get it until everybody has one. Okay. I'm going to need to move this. We have never done this. We have never done this with this many people. Could you just kind of move, just temporarily, we're going to move these out of the way. I like these. I'm going to need one of these soon enough, probably on Thursday. Oh, you know what? Did anybody is there any left over from all that I had? Is there some left over? Good. I didn't get one. Any left over? Only one left? Huh. That's dangerous. I needed at least a couple. Oh, there we go. I got two. Okay. I said I was feeling generous, and I was generous enough. It was just $1. So it's not a whole lot. But that dollar is going to be all we need. Because what we're going to try to do right here is to teach one of the more difficult lessons that Jesus ever had to teach his friends. We're going to use that dollar bill you have in your hand. It's just $1, but it might do the trick. Take that dollar and excuse me, I have to remember how I do this. In order to do this, I'm going to have to pair you up, okay? By that, I mean you got to watch me. And I'll do this table, and then you all can do your tables, okay? Are you watching me?
I'm watching.
You're paired up with her. That's
Okay.
it. paired up, paired up, paired up. So it's 2, 2, 2. As much as we can, go around the room and pair up with one other person so that you're in twos. But if you're sitting at a table where you get a group of 3, that's okay. But as many groups of 2, everybody pair up with somebody sitting next to them. You don't move your chair. Don't move your chair. You stay right where you are, but you just stay in your chair. Okay, are we paired up? Everybody paired up with somebody? Okay. That dollar bill you're holding is just $1. Everyone has the same amount. It's the same dollar bill, just a $1 bill, so everybody's the same, except that every dollar bill in this room is different. They do a number of things to make a dollar bill unique. There are many things. It'd be surprising how many things there are on a dollar bill that makes your dollar bill different than anybody else's. But can somebody just raise your hand and tell me the most obvious thing on your dollar bill that is different than the person next to you? What would that be? Serial number, right? You see that long line of green digits. But is it all numbers? Nope. There's a letter at the beginning and a letter at the end. And there are 8 digits in there. And yes, of course, every dollar bill is going to have a different serial code on it. There are some other things on a dollar bill that makes your dollar bill unique. One of the more interesting things I have learned is to the left. I want you to look to the left of George Washington. You see George there in the middle? To his left, there is a black circle with a letter in the middle of it. Now, I'll bet you there's somebody out there that can tell me exactly what that letter and that circle to the left of George Washington's face means. Do you know what that Where it was printed, you're very, very close. But the problem being, it's not exactly that. Every one of these dollar bills is printed in the same place at the U.S. Mint. But when it is printed, they are distributed to 12 federal banks. And those 12 federal banks each have a seal. And you will look very carefully if you still have good eyesight. I do not. If you can read the fine print around that letter, you will see which federal bank distributed your dollar bill and put it in circulation. Okay? Can you see it? Okay. Somebody raise your hand and tell me what's your letter? What's the letter? San Francisco, the letter L. What you got? Philadelphia is what letter? C? What's E? Richard, that's probably the closest here. Boston is A. There you go. Cleveland, Ohio. You see all that? You see all that? Yeah. So there you go. You learned something about your dollar bill. This is going to come in handy. Come in very handy, in fact, because you're going to go home. You're going to go home this week, and somebody's going to say, hey, you went over to that senior adult thing at the church. Did you learn anything? And you can say, yes, I did. Give me $1. And then they give you $1, and you explain all about the federal bank and the letter. And while you're explaining, you're starting your very own collection. I do not want you to turn your chairs. I just want you to be able to turn in your chair. I want you to face that person that you're paired up with, okay? Just turn and look at the, okay, I want all of you to stare deep into the beady little eyes of Mr. Washington there, our first president. Wonder what he was thinking. Probably, how long am I going to have to sit here? Okay. Now I want you to look deep into the eyes of that person across from you. Look at your partner. Now look back into the eyes of George Washington. Stare at his face. Now look into the eyes of the person next to you. Are they starting to look a little bit like George Washington? Okay, now the work begins. I want you to go back and look at that dollar bill you have, and I want to look at that long line of green digits. You got that? Letter at the beginning, letter at the end. One more little trivial fact. The letter at the beginning of the serial code is the same letter that's in the little circle. Isn't that fun? It means absolutely nothing. But I love useless information. So I want you to look at that long line of green digits. You see the letter at the beginning, and I want you to forget it. Okay. Go to the number that comes after that. So that'll be the first number in your line. Everybody got that on your dollar bill? Okay. The person in your group, or the person in your pair, or if in your group of three, who has the lower number, takes the other person's money. Oh. It was kind of fun until we got there. Yeah, there you go. Did anybody tie? Were there ties? Okay, now, listen carefully. If you tied, you're still in the game. You're good. But if you lost your money, you stay there. If you won, I want you to come up here and form a line all the way across here. If you won in your group, it'll take a little while. Come on, make your way up the front. Let's spread out all the way in a long line across the room. Just get there as close together as you can. We got a big, big group this time. There you go. There you go. If you lost your money, I'm so sorry for you. Just keep going around the side of the room. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is going to be interesting. Oh, we're doing good. Make room. Everybody just find yourself in a line over there. Get. Line up. Okay, are you watching me? Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. Paired up.
We got one right here.
Right in here. Paired up. Paired up. Get alongside her. How are we done? Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. I couldn't number you up. Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. Paired up.
We're paired. Pair up is great.
Can we work this out? You? Carol. Can you just start pairing up over there? Okay. Pair up with a partner and okay, you got it? No idea. We usually do this with about 40 to 50 people. But this is really going to get interesting. But it's not going to take very long. Everybody paired up. I want you to take your dollar bill, turn toward the person you're paired up with. I want you to stare at that dollar bill. Now look at your partner. I want you to look at that dollar bill again. If you have $2 bills, I want you to pick one and put it on top. You can only play with $1 bill. That's your lucky dollar. Put the $1 bill. If you switch your dollar bills, I'm going to come take your money. Okay. So you got your $1 bill on top. Are you ready? Did you look at your dollar? Did you look at your partner? Look at your partner. Tell them you love them. Because that's about to change. I want you to look at that long line of green digits and go to the very end of the line. There's a letter. You see the letter at the end of the line. Okay? The number at the very end, just in front of that letter. The last number in the line. The person with the highest number at the end of the line. You got that? The highest number takes the other person's money. Losers, sit down. The highest number takes the money. If you tied, you get to stay here. If you tied, you get to stay up here. Okay? Okay. Okay, way down there at this end over here, I want you to go by twos and pair up again. Pair up all the way down the line. Go by twos and pair up again. Everybody get a partner. Is it coming? We got it? You two, you two, you two. Okay, if you have to get with three, that's good. Okay, I want you to look at your dollar bill again. Are we doing it okay? Okay, this time we're going to go. You're going to need to know your alphabet for this next thing. And if you have to sing the little song, whatever it takes. Look at that black circle to the left of George Washington's face. The person with the letter in that black circle closest to the beginning of the alphabet takes the other person's money. Losers, sit down. If you tied, you stay right where you are. Losers, sit down. If you tied, stay right where you are. Okay, let's close in some more. Here we go. Uh-oh. It's going to start to get serious here. Are you ready? Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. Paired up. We got it? You paired up. Paired up. Paired up. Close in here. Paired up. You three will be together. Okay. Okay. Look at your long line of green digits one more time. Okay. Go to the very end of the line one more time. You got it? Go to the very end of the line. There's a letter at the end of the line. The person with, now this is going to be tough. You have to think about it. The letter at the end of the line closest to the end of the alphabet. This is going to take a while if you need some paper. Takes the other person's money. Losers, sit down. Oh. If you tied, you're still in the game. Okay, it's coming down to it. Hurry, close up. Paired up, paired up, paired up, paired up, paired up. Good. I said we're going to take a dollar bill and see if we can learn one of the really difficult things Jesus taught, and we're going to use money. One of the things as a storyteller, any storyteller will tell you, that is if you want people to pay attention to what you're saying, you got to talk about stuff that they're interested in. Jesus was a storyteller. And I do believe, and the scholars will bear me out, that was why one of the most often mentioned subjects in all of Jesus' teachings was money. what you do with what you've got. Because when you talk about money, people kind of start leaning towards you. I played this game with hundreds, maybe thousands of different groups over the years. And it's interesting. I watch people. That's where I get my stories. I study them. I watch people. And one of the things I watch is when I ask that question, y'all like money? And there's some people kind of sit back, but there are other people kind of lean forward. Money, because money changes us, you know? I mean, from the time you were little, money. You'd collect little pennies and nickels. You'd be walking along, you'd find a quarter on the street. Ooh, 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 ooh. Money. And then later, the quarter's not on the street, it's on mom's dresser. And you're thinking about making a loan. Money, it changes you. You're about to steal money. That was another thing Jesus wanted to warn his people. Thief. And if you don't think, everybody has a price. And if you don't think you have a price, it's because nobody's named it yet. There's many, many things that change us in our lives. And one of the most important things that has changed all of us is what we have and what others have. So money, I watch people's faces. They kind of smile. When you have money, you got to smile. When you don't, you're, So young people, that's the way they figure out life. If a little bit of something makes you feel good, they're thinking, wait a minute, if I get more of this, I'll feel better. And then they get more money. They get a little older and they think, well, you know, what if I was rich? You have some homes built up in the hills, all around this neighborhood. You see those big mansions up there? Those are the rich people. You know what they're doing? They're sitting up there smiling, looking down at you. You're looking, and you probably, I do, I'm at, what would it be like to be really, really rich? Jesus cautioned his friends. He said, if someday you get enough money, you will be blind. You will not see those around you. You will not see at all. Money will change. So that's why I do believe he had to talk to people about what they had. Money. Well, we've come down to it. These people are all up there. They're smiling. Looking out at these people who've all lost their money. You know, so are we paired up? Turn toward your partner. Put $1 bill on top. That's your lucky dollar. Look at your partner. Don't tell them you love them because they don't believe it anyway. And I want you, once again, we're going to go to the first two numbers after the letter. The first two numbers I want you, now this is going to take some math. Add them together. Can you do that? The person with the highest total takes the other person's money. Losers, sit down. The highest total takes the money. Losers, sit down. How did we end up with 5? Okay, I thought we sure we got it right? Okay. You three will be together, and you two will be together. Face each other. Put $1 bill on the top. Okay. I want you to, we're gonna go down the long line of green digits one more time, and we'll use the last number in your line, the person with the lowest last number. The lowest last number. What you got? Takes the other person's money. Losers, sit down. And now we've come down to it. Stand right here.
Okay, all right. I'm up here.
Wow.
I'm up here,
Wow,
by the way.
that's impressive.
Because my husband couldn't stand, and he gave me his dollar. to
Oh,
put, so
okay. Well,
I'm
that's
actually a
good.
surrogate for more.
That's okay. Well, that's how a lot of women make it in this world. their husband gives them $1. It's your allowance. Okay. Okay, we're going to do this one more time. The big playoff here. Are you ready? Okay. Drum beat, drum roll. We're going to go with the Federal Bank letter one more time. The letter closest to the end of the alphabet takes the other person's money. What do you got? F. What do you got?
L.
And the winner right here. Stay here. Let's hear it for Gail. Whoa, the big one. Gail,
Yes.
I need you to stand right over here. Don't go anyplace, Nancy. Okay, there you go. That's good. That's good right there. And you've got a problem now that you don't know, and we'll talk about it in just a minute. But be patient, because now we have to go over here. Nancy, you be right over here. That's good. Let's hear a little sympathy for Nancy. That means they love you, but not quite enough. Yeah. Okay. You'll be okay, because in this game, you're going to play a role. It's not you, okay? It's just a role. You're going to be our designated pitiful person, okay? And your job is just to be pitiful. Okay,
I can do that.
do that. Okay, that's all. We'll be back to you. Woe is you. We'll be back to you in just a moment. But over here, Gail has a problem. I said she had a problem. She's got money.
Lots of it.
People with money have a problem. The first problem with money is that there are people out there who will take your money. You've got to be very careful. How many of you have ever had? That's not part of the game. How many of you have ever had money stolen from you? Any way, time in your life? People will take money, so you've got to be very careful. Careful. You got to be careful with money. But the good news is, if you have money, there's a lot of things you can do with money. There's a million things you can do with money, but they break down into 4 just general categories. Okay? I want you to think about this for a minute. What's the first and most obvious thing Gail can do with her money? Spend it. Absolutely. Spend her money. Every one of us has a gift catalog in our mind. A gift catalog entitled Things I Would Buy If I Had the Money. Okay? Just for the sake of imagination. Let's say you win a lottery. You have all the money. Raise a hand. I'll go around the room and take a few. Tell me what you would buy if you had the money. Well, what would you get? What would you get if you had? What would you get? A motorhome. That'd be good. Where would you like to go? Okay, make a Western trip. Okay, somebody raised their hand. What would you do if you had the money?
Purchase steps to go down to the lake.
Oh, wow.
An elevator.
An elevator down to the lake. Okay, yeah. What would you do if you had the money?
I would buy a Viking cruise ship with all the staff, and they could take me everywhere.
There you go, a Viking cruise with this. You see those commercials and you just imagine yourself on the fan deck with a little glass of grape juice. Okay. Raise your hand. I need some more imagining. What would you do if you had the money?
I want to build a mansion so I can invite all my friends.
Oh, wow, a big house. A big house with everybody around the table. The point being is that we all sometimes, we see commercials, we read ads in magazines. Just about every day we look at something and say, man, if I had the money, that would be cool, you know. Okay, first thing you can do with your money, Gail, is you can buy stuff. Okay. Now, somebody continue this investigation a little bit and tell me what she could do, what else she could do with the money. Remember, there were 4 categories. What's a second and obvious thing she could do with her money? She share some of her money. What's another word for share? Donate money. What's another word? Give, share. There's a churchy word, and it's only used in church. You ever heard anybody use that word anyplace else? Tithe. It's kind of a funny word. It's like you got a lisp. What is tithe? Tithe. So, what is a tithe? How much money is a tithe? Oh, it's not an amount of money. It's a way of figuring an amount of money. What's the percent, did you say? 10%. Back when God started God's first congregation, they were called the chosen people. That's the other church up the street over here. The chosen people. And he started designing the lifestyle of the chosen people. One of the things from time to time God commanded, was that you would share some of what you have. And one of those early traditions and commands was that they would share a specific portion, and it was about 10%. It was one out of, if you had 10 cattle, one cow. 10 wives? No. But whatever you had, you would figure out a portion, a percentage, and that in the very earliest design of how people would live was to share a tithe. It's come down to us even today. The tithe is still talked about. It is not observed. Do you know what the average percentage of giving that they figure in the United Methodist Church is for members? How much? Not even that much. A little over 1.5%. We spend 3 times as much on our pets as we spend on the church. Tithe, you give 1 out of 10. So, the second thing you can do with your money would be to share it. Now, you got 2 options. Spend it, share it. Somebody give me a third possible option she can do with her money. There we go. We're retired here. What are we doing? We're trying to increase our money, so we invest your money. Spend it, share it, invest. You buy something that will increase in value. That used to be the stock market. Actually, it's not doing bad. But I'm telling you what, that's one of the most important things you can do with your money is to take it and make it help you by investing. So now you got 3 options. Spend it, share it, invest it. The fourth is the most conservative, and perhaps you didn't think of it first, but what else could you do with your money? Save it. Just take it to the bank and say, hold on and keep my money safe. Very conservative, but it works. It works. So, now you got 4 things. Spend, share, save, invest. But the story that I'm using today was Jesus teaching about money. And for that, we're going to talk about that option that we spoke of as sharing. Okay? Now, I don't know you. But I've known you for 2 days now, and you just look like the kind of person that cares. And you're standing there with that wad of cash. And I could just tell by that look on your face that you cannot get that pitiful person, look pitiful, off your mind. And I just figure you've been standing there thinking, I've got so much, and she's got diddly squat over there. I just know that your big heart is saying you could share some of what you've got, okay? I'll tell you what. I will share $1 with her if you'll share $1 with her. Will you match my dollar? Sure. There you go. Everybody see that? Are you sure? Watch very carefully because there's going to be a test. Watching? Okay, here we go. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Did you see that? Did you see that? Okay. So I got a question. It's a trick question. Because that means when you think you know the answer, think again. Which one of us gave Nancy the greater gift? Think about it. Don't answer. I told you, when you think you got the answer, think again. Which one of us gave the greater gift? Have you thought about it? Okay, just one person raise their hand. Tell me what you think. One person, tell me. Who do you think gave the greater gift? I gave a greater gift because I gave, you're talking about that percentage thing. I gave. Brilliant. That is brilliant, but it's not the right answer. Okay. Who gave the greater gift? Are you staring at me now? Who do you think gave the greater gift? I gave my own money. That's true, but that's not even close. Not even close there. I gave all I had. Yeah, that's the greater gift. The greater gift. All I asked you was to watch what I did. She gave me one. I took one. How much do we give you? So I'm not going to let you keep guessing because you won't figure it out. The answer to that is we gave her the exact same amount. You gave one. I gave one. You got two. If we could open those blinds and look out there, you know what they got out there? It's called the world. And you know how they measure a gift out there in the world? By the bottom line. 1 and 1 makes 2. That's how they measure a gift in the world, by the bottom line. But Jesus said there's another way to measure a gift, and it's not by how much you give. It's by how much you have left. And she had a lot left. I'm sure his friends stared at him a long time. Really. To measure things by not what you give, but by how much you have. That was hard for them. You know why it was hard? Because they lived out there in the world where everything was measured by the bottom line. Jesus was teaching them a new way of living, a different way of giving. And it was not going to be easy. So he told them a story. You all have a seat. One day Jesus took his friends to church. Jesus had a favorite place to sit in church, too, like I was talking. Left side, Jesus was a slightly left of center person. Did you know that? Left side, 4th row, Jesus and his friends. You got to picture this. And Jesus was punching the guy sitting next to him. He's saying, hey, watch this. What was happening was the offering was being taken. 4 men in suits gotten together in back and marched down the aisle. Spread out. Why is it always 4 men in suits that take up the offering? I figure over my 60 years, I've led worship in over 2,500 churches. That's a lot of churches. And one of the things I do when I study churches is, just out of my own curiosity, I always look out there to see who's going to be taking up the offering. And I think it should be old people. It should be young people. It should be men, but it should also every Sunday be women. I do believe that, but I'm going to tell you what. In probably 90% of the churches I've ever been at, I look back there to see who's going to take up the offering. 4 men in suits. coming down the aisle. Here they come. That Sunday, they came down the aisle, and they spread out across the front. The head usher came around. The head usher that Sunday was a woman who got the plates from the pastor and turned and handed them out to the four men in suits. And they turned to begin the offering that morning. Only they found that morning, as is often the case, and maybe the case here on a Sunday morning in most churches, nobody's on the front row. Many churches I visit, the front 2 rows, 3 rows, sometimes many rows. And I've come into churches where there's a little knot of people huddled together in the back and nobody in the front half of the church. So they spread out to begin the offering, and the front row was empty, except that Sunday, down at the end, there was a woman nobody had ever seen before. It looked like she'd just gotten out of bed and walked in and plopped herself down in their church. So when the offering plate went by, everybody was watching because they wanted to see what was going to happen. And that woman reached out and she put what appeared to be a wad of trash in the offering plate. And Jesus said, "Did you see that?" The offering continued their journeys back and forth till they got to the back, and the doxology and started, and the four men in suits came down to the front with the offering plates. The woman collected a tall stack of plates and turned to hand them to the pastor who was waiting behind her. But before she turned, while she was still facing the congregation, she slipped her fingers in her vest pocket, and she pulled out a folded slip of paper that looked like a check. And she kind of waved it around so that everyone could see. And then she put that slip of paper in the top of the top plate and handed it to the pastor. And Jesus punched the guy next to him a third time and said, hey, did you see that? When church was over, people visited. You know how we do. You know, shake hands at the back or down out around the church in the parking lot. Jesus and his friends were standing in a little circle over next to Jesus' van. Jesus had a 12-passenger van. Yes. Little bumper sticker on the back said, "Follow me." They were standing there in that circle talking about the service. And finally, the man who'd been sitting next to Jesus had to ask. He said, hey, what was all that? Did you see that? Did you see that? When they took up the offering. And Jesus said, well, did you see it? Did you see what that woman on the front row put in the offering plate this morning? And his friend said, looked like a piece of trash. Jesus said, it almost was. But you didn't see, so you didn't know. That wrapped in that piece of trash, there were 2 pennies. Then Jesus said, what about the woman at the end? Did you see what the head usher put in the offering plate this morning? And his friend said, well, yeah. I mean, it looked like a check. Jesus said, it was. That woman gave over $1,000 in a check in our offering this morning. And Jesus' friend said, so? And Jesus said, so? That's what I've been trying to teach you. God doesn't care. Never has, never will. How much a person gives in an offering. Because God knows us. And because God knows us, God knows what we have. And God knows what we have left. You see, Jesus said, that woman down there on the front row, she had nothing left. So she gave a treasure. The woman there at the end, Jesus said, she is a good woman. But she has so much left that the most attention she will get for her gift, she got this morning when she shook out the check. And Jesus' friend said, oh, how about you? Oh, that's why he called them disciples. Because like students everywhere, it takes a while. You got to learn. And he was teaching his friends a new way of living and a new way of giving. Because anybody knows it's easy when it's easy. But everybody knows it's gonna hurt some when it's hard. Little rain will bring the flowers in the springtime. Yes, it will. Through the fire you will find out who you are. It's through the fire that we find out who we are. 'Cause anybody knows it's easy when it's easy. Everybody knows it's easy when it's easy. Now it's going to happen. A week or a month from today, you're going to be sitting somewhere, and the plate is going to be heading toward you. It may not be church. There's just all kinds of places where we're asked to give of who we are. I'm hoping maybe you'll remember the story. And you'll think back to this hour this morning, and you'll go, oh, I remember. So when the plate comes your way, you don't dig down in your pocket to see what you got. You check your heart, because this is the only place you will ever find the peace of Christ. And so once again this morning, this peace of Christ, this teaching, a new way of living and loving, be with you forever. Amen. Amen. Kind of sad that tomorrow morning we gather for a last time. We're going to be in concert on tomorrow evening, which may not mean a lot to you, but I've done so many concerts over the years that I don't do them anymore. This may be one of the last that I ever get to do, where I just get to do more music and less storytelling. So that's going to be tomorrow night. I'm going to look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, 9:30 for fellowship, 10 o'clock. Those of you that have been coloring, we'll have a little show and tell. And we thank you for that, and look forward to that day. Is there anything else that we need to do for the good of the body? I think we've done well. I thank you. Kathleen thanks you for particularly those who behind the scenes have worked to make this happen. It has been a large group, and it's been work for them, and it's been a little bit of a struggle this morning. Thank you for your patience. The game was a little out of control, but for a few of you, I did see a light go on. You know, I don't know if you've ever been a teacher, but the teachers know. You look out there and you see that blank stare, and you wonder if they're getting it. You know, it takes a good storyteller, but sometimes I am sure Jesus' disciples, even after he finished telling his stories, they talked with him afterwards and said, could you go over that one more time? A little slower, but slowly but surely, they got it and they passed it along, and here we are still learning the same lessons again today. So you graduated. Go out there, be careful with what you have and what you do with what you have. Until tomorrow, the peace of Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.